think this stuff will be foreclosed on. I think. You know, possibility I'm wrong. Possibility I'm wrong. I'm Chance with We Sell Broken Bow. Appreciate you tuning in. Pulling away from Allsups here. It's a little bit of an overcast day. Today is Thursday, May 21st, 2026. Memorial Day is right around the corner. Unfortunately, it appears like Memorial Day is gonna have some rain in the forecast. So I'm not your weatherman, and obviously by the time you're watching this, it's probably past Memorial Day. So I'll probably share a little bit about what may be going on this coming weekend and Memorial Day, but by the time you're watching this, Memorial Day will probably be past. And so rolling up to Broken Bow and Hochatown, meeting a contractor, one of my favorite preferred builders and contractors up at a cabin that I have a lady inquiring on, a lady that actually called in reference to some of our YouTube videos that we've been posting. And so that might be a good way and point for me to say, hey, no matter where you are in the process, assuming you're not already engaged or represented specifically by another agent, meaning if you've not signed a document with another agent, representation agreement, that gives us the ability to talk, right? So odds are, if you're watching this video, you've probably not already called another agent or signed another agreement with another agent or anything like that. And so reach out to us, holler at us, reach out to us. Appreciate y'all for tuning into these videos. And I swear I'm trying to, sometimes I like rolling in the old Chevy truck because the suspension and the tires are better for these old gravel roads than some of my other rigs, some of my other vehicles. Like for example, my Harley. I guess actually you could say I probably go faster on my Harley some days on these gravel roads, but it's definitely not the safest. And so anywho, here I'm coming up on the main four-way, the main intersection here in Hochatown, or I'm sorry, in Broken Bow, downtown Broken Bow, if you will, between Smith's Good Eats and Pruitt's grocery store. So Pruitt's is kind of like the landmark of downtown Broken Bow here. Good groceries. Let's talk about some real estate. So just put a listing of ours under contract. Super excited. Shout out to the folks that are on Basswood that we just got their cabin under contract, helped them purchase it a few years ago, 2-3 years ago. And a lot of folks that are shopping in the market right now, and I think a lot of buyers might really, or I guess I was going with that, is buyers kind of analyze the information that are looking at online and on realtor.com and et cetera. Consumers have so much more access to information so much more quickly than ever before with the websites and now AI. Holy cow, what a rant we could go down on AI, right? And these data centers and all the freaking water that they're using and how we're letting all of this happen because, oh, we're just so busy and need to, I'm just, too busy working my 40-50 hour a week job. Hey, I understand. Me too, right? But as some old wise men have said before, it's like, man, the chicken's gonna come home to roost. Anyways, buyers have access to a lot more information than before, and where I was going with that was to say these folks on Basswood that we helped purchase this awesome cabin a couple years ago. Life stuff occurs and plans change, and hey, all of a sudden families, cousins, aunts, uncles, mother, father, kids going to college or moving here, moving there, and hey, it's time to move to this part of the country, move to that part of, I'm not saying specifically that's what's up with these folks, but I guess what I'm getting at is, if you're a buyer in today's market, I wouldn't be totally hyper analyzing, oh my gosh, like they've owned it 2 or 3 years, like what, you know, is there something wrong with the property? No, it's that there's 1,000 of these cabins up here. They're luxury vacation secondary home properties, essentially, that these owners are not living in. These owners are not living in these properties, and so it's easier for them to make sense of listing it for sale and for rent at the same time. And again, not referencing this basswood listing, just in general, folks, lands change and they're not living in these properties, and they don't need to, for example, like clean up after themselves, so to speak, to get the property ready to show. It's almost like these cabins are always ready to show because of the nature of the property managers and owners that keep them ready between turns, it's called, between times that the cabin's rented. It's pretty much always show ready. And there's also a nature of some of these listing agents or some of these agents in town are reaching out to folks. Hey, I think I can sell your cabin. Hey, what if we could get this much more? Hey, let's just, regardless of price, let's just list it for sale, and sale at the same time while it's on the market for rent. And hey, this, that, and the other. There is a little bit of a degree of there being a lot of cabins on the market, right? There's a lot of cabins on the market right now, and not all of the sellers are equally motivated, right? I'll just say it like that. Although they have the like, for example, there's this not even going to single this cabin or individual out, because I just really don't want to get into that. I want to respect folks and be cool, but you know, there's situations and individuals that, for example, whether it's agents or individuals that few and far between list their properties for sale by owner through these flat fee listing service providers, and they'll come up with their own verbiage and own photos, and holy moly, how, I don't know, I just think that if you're not living here, it'd be hard to effectively sell your property on your, I don't know, I feel like I would want to be a little bit more hands-on, right? If I'm selling property, at least be there kind of periodically, be able to check in on the property and things like that. But anyways, where I was going with that was to say that there's this individual with this property that he's listed for, I want to say they're in the 8s, like mid 8s, 849 or so. Oop. Yeah, there's a ton of listings on the market right now at 849. So, and by the time you're watching this video, you might prices change, this, that, and the other. But property's listed right now at 849, and in the ad copy or in the description of the listing, he's indicating that was appraised for 1.1 million. Like, dude. First of all, when exactly was that appraisal? Okay, more than 6 months ago, more than a year ago. And just because it was appraised at just because it was appraised at 1.1 and he's not getting any bites at 850 doesn't mean that the market really went down that much. Right? Doesn't mean that the market on average or as a whole went down that much. I have seen a degree over the past 2-3 years where there's been a little bit of, I wouldn't say an inflation with the appraisals, but I would say that there's almost a degree of the appraisals come in eerily close to what the, if not right on the money for what the contract price is. And it's almost like the appraisals are oftentimes correlated or affected by the actual contract price. So that's interesting. Here we're rolling by a lot of road work. Holy moly, how many tens and hundreds of millions of dollars going into this road here. So that's really good. My buddy Samson's out Holland Rock for these folks. I'll tell you, one of my favorite flavors of this Gatorade, and again, I try to get no sugar. Let's make sure this is one of the ones with no sugar. I don't know why my nutrition facts just seem to be in Spanish on this one. Am I? I'll focus on the road, y'all. Focus on sharing about some real estate up here for y'all. Because again, it is Memorial Day coming up this coming Monday. Memorial Day, of course, is one of the more popular weekends typically to pop off summer up here, as lake season, boating season, camping season, that sort of thing. A lot of folks, particularly shopping for these cabins, aren't really the ones up. It almost has seemed like, okay, how would I say it? On a percentage basis, nowhere near most of the folks coming through Broken Bow and Hochatown are camping anymore. Nowhere near. It used to be, obviously prior to 10 years ago, there was like none of these luxury vacation cabins here, right? From the years, let's say like 95 to 2010, there were more traditional style, more hunting style cabins, if you will. And that's what was up here more than anything. And so the market really has progressed up here a lot. And here they're widening this road, Old Hochatown Road, just north of Hochatown Saloon, and working on that road, laying some nice beautiful asphalt. That's really good news. I had a conversation with Adam Vossen. Nice dude, good dude. Seems like a good choice of town administrator for Hochatown. He was sharing that essentially it's 100% certain we will see a pretty elaborate and professional style like biking trails, and pretty sure not for motorized. Maybe e-bikes will be allowed, who knows? That's kind of stuff that I'm sure will be flushed out and yet to be defined. Maybe we can get some more information on that soon. So interesting stuff. I think he said, to the tune of like at least a couple hundred acres. Maybe a little bit more, between some mix of private land and perhaps state and federal land. So who knows, we'll see. I'll try to stay aware of what's going on that and let y'all know as soon as we find out. So that'll be interesting. Let's see, looking for this cabin that I'm gonna run by for this lady. Otherwise, just passing gutter chaos. I'm really not going to share a ton of details about this property and these properties. Like, for example, if I'm filming while I'm running around shopping properties, there's some degree that, of course, I'm going to respect anonymity, and a client, an actual client and a prospective client, I'm going to be, of course, respectful of anonymity, confidentiality, and understanding that this is a smaller, unique market, and there's particular properties that, for example, a buyer might gravitate towards that has some uniqueness, some specialty, this, that, and the other, and I'm going to try to give them the benefit of the doubt, or the most competitive advantage on the property, right? And so there's a lot of variables and moving pieces to all of this, and I may or may not seem like it, but I kind of have a rhyme or reason for how we're going about these videos. Again, trying to make these videos for y'all as like raw and real as possible, just capturing what I would be up to in the middle of a day as it is. And so that's that. All right, just 5 minutes away from this cabin. Oh, this is a really cool one. Super excited about this one for this client, and have a contractor that'll be meeting me here at this cabin. That's how serious this lady seems to be about this cabin, and interested in probably doing something kind of a little extra and a little extra special, bringing some uniqueness to this property to really make it a special retreat for their family first and foremost, and then also the rental market, right? Here we're passing the maze, and some cool little things up here that a lot of folks come and do, like this local 259 market. Stay away from the sugar. Here we're turning left on Lucian Sorrel. I'll probably shut off the camera. Oh man, that's a cool little graphic on this. Checking his tires. Tires look perfectly good to me, dude. On that mighty fine GM product. The Meltdown on 259. So passing through some cabins here, I'll take an interesting little route through this tiny home rental development. I think this stuff will be foreclosed on. I think. You know, possibility I'm wrong. Possibility I'm wrong. This is one of the few kind of smaller cabins. I want to say a few of them were shipping container little cabins, which are definitely cool in my mind if done right. But today is Thursday. You're not going to typically see most cabins up here. It's in the middle of the summer, it might be like 50-50, but it's not the majority of these cabins that are booked most like Wednesdays and Thursdays. For example, working on some side-by-sides there. Where I was kind of going, not necessarily where I was going with that, but while I bring that up, I'll say that, again, if you're pretty serious about shopping and or killing a few birds with one stone while you're up here on vacation throughout this summer, let's say, maybe plan like a Tuesday to Thursday, right? Because if you come up here on the weekends, it's probably going to be a little bit more expensive on the weekends, and most of the properties that you might want to see are probably going to be booked. Probably going to be booked with other guests. And what I find more often than not is, let's say you are up here on the weekend, you can only make the weekend. Hey, understand, a lot of folks don't work remote, although a lot of folks do in this day and age, but maybe it's technically not the majority of folks, so I kind of understand. Whatever you can make work, you can make work. But if it is a weekend that you can only make it, maybe plan to stay around a little bit throughout the day into the afternoon on a Sunday, and let's wait for the guests that are in these cabins to check out, which the most typical checkout time is typically 10 to 11 a.m. varies from cabin to cabin, management company to management company. So many variables in the landscape as far as management companies and this, that, and the other. Management companies can pretty much well do what they want. Of course, they really got to be to a certain extent. I would say that this industry up here is like not very regulated with the exception of course, now Hochatown's new incorporation as a township, which about half of the cabins on the market in the greater area, about half of the cabins in the greater area are located in Hochatown, and the other half are going to be outside of Hochatown, and we can discuss at a later time or in an individual phone call if you want to reach out kind of what some of those differences may be. I could point you to hochatown.gov, and you can look up some of the details for yourself, and particularly a boundary map of like where the boundaries of Hochatown's township is. I'm turning around here because I've just been rambling with y'all and burning a few minutes waiting for this contractor to get a little closer. Let's see here. So I'm going to shut it off here and talk with y'all soon. All right, just pulled out of this cabin that I was having our contractor and preferred builder check out as far as building a second structure. Seems like the client wants to build 1,000 square foot or so additional guest space. Probably not a full-blown kitchen, probably a bedroom, bathroom, entertaining space, game room, pool table, bunk room, that sort of thing, right? So this property in particular that we were looking at has this really nice terrain, really secluded, draw down to a creek, and that sort of thing. That's about as much as I'll say, and hopefully by the time you're seeing this video, my client's got it under contract and on to the next steps with the due diligence and ultimately building them something that they are really going to look forward to get them out of Dallas, get them out of the suburbs, and come up here to Broken Bow and hang out. And so Memorial Day is right around the corner. Oh man, I guess I'll share with you the gentleman, my preferred builder, who was telling me a story of a cabin. He did not build this cabin. He did not build this cabin, but a customer that he had, he was he had a customer that he was doing repairs for on this cabin. And again, this builder is freaking awesome builder. He did not build this cabin that was having these issues. He was there to repair these issues. And this is probably like $1 million cabin in one of these subdivisions, right? One of these like newer subdivisions, popular subdivisions, $1 million cabin, popular rental cabin, that sort of thing. And supposedly, in times of rain, this cabin would have like water show up. They knew it wasn't a plumbing leak because it wasn't a constant leak, but just when it would rain. And so just to keep a long story short, what this builder of mine, contractor, found was that it took him some digging and time and investigating and looking, and finally he found that since this cabin was built down in kind of like this, I guess a low point down this hill, which is not ideal. I think he indicated there was this creek back here or something like this. Obviously, the cabin wasn't like built in a creek, just built in a lower point where water would run down, and found that water was entering an electrical conduit because this conduit was placed in a trench that was collecting water at this gully, if you will. Water was coming in through this conduit and entering the house in an electrical panel. Water was coming in through the electrical conduit and the electrical systems of this house and leaking through the electrical systems. How freaking scary that is. How freaking scary. And what I'll tell you is that there's more of that than you would actually think. And I'm no inspector. I'm a licensed realtor. Been selling real estate my entire adult life. It's almost all I know. I have a good sense of what I'm looking at, but sometimes, oh my gosh, watching folks not watch the road and these big old semis, you know, swerving, and oh my gosh, stay on the road. But yeah, scary stuff out there sometimes. You gotta have, you know, a good team, some good eyeballs, a good agent, a good inspector, and the good Lord on your side. So those are my thoughts on that. I'm about to log off here in a few. This weekend will be a fun weekend. Hopefully it's not too rainy. If y'all have any questions about the real estate market up here, have any questions about any cabins that you're browsing as you're shopping online, please give me a shout. And if y'all need anything relating to the real estate market up here in Broken Bow and Hochatown, give me a shout. Appreciate y'all.